Hey everyone, what's going on? This is Ash and Rima from Mass Effect Odyssey. We have been through this trailer so many times that you would not believe. It's been at least over the last hour. We've been combing through this over and over again to find out basically any and all new information that we can. What I'm going to do is in a moment I will pass over to Rima, who's taken most of the notes while I've been working on screenshots and everything so you guys can see, and we'll also have the trailer playing in the background at certain points and intervals as well, so you'll hopefully be able to get to see everything that you want to see. And what we probably might do in the future is if you have any questions for us about the new trailer in the future, we'll do a video on that as well. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Rima and we're going to go through the notes and we're going to see what we can find out about this newest trailer. So Rima.
Okay, so basically it starts off very much like the last E3, the last N7 day trailer, with kind of like real life footage of like takeoffs and space travel, things like that. So it kind of starts off in that same tone, and that tone's kind of progresses the whole way through. There is voiceover like we thought there might be, and it's either of an actor, which for now we don't know who it is, or a dev. Again, at the start it kind of sounds like it is a character speaking, but then it kind of sounds like the person is speaking about production, because they called it a behind the scenes video, so it is kind of like a behind the scenes video.
Yeah.
So in about 8 seconds, their monologue kind of says, "Our survival of our species has always depended on our drive to seek out the undiscovered, push beyond our limits, and expand our boundaries of our own known world." And it kind of goes along the idea of discovering the undiscovered, all that kind of stuff, exploration. So that's kind of the main kind of start of the trailer. Is it? Yeah, trailer. I was going to say teaser trailer.
No.
Then at about 22 seconds, it shows the ship, the Tempest, which has now been confirmed from the leak, the Reddit leak. So that's kind of
leak, yeah.
Yeah. And it has quite similar colouring to the Pathfinder logo we both noted. Black, white, and orangey red or orange. In this light, it's really hard to...
Yeah.
I'm going to say orange at this point.
Yeah.
It does have the Tempest written on it. You noted that it was obviously quite similar to the Normandy shape, but it does look bigger than a Normandy, at least.
Yeah.
It has these 4 kind of like fins. It's really weird. And it has no military designation that we can tell, like SR2 or SR1 like Normandy had. And it's also got quite like big kind of like boosters at the back as well. And the ship kind of warps into the space. There's no relay around it for it to kind of jump to that point. It seems to have used some kind of like, I'm going to call it warp drive for now until we figure out what it's actually called. So
yeah,
that one.
I'm just going on the warp drive one there. That kind of seems to back up what was shown in the original trailer, where it seems to be going through like a wormhole kind of dealy, rather than a mass relay. So possibly something there.
Yeah. So then we kind of move into the scene. It looks like you can quickly see that kind of like the devs kind of working on scenes. It's very, very short. But you get to see him working on a scene of a character looking at the galaxy map. But it seems to be more like an observation deck than a galaxy map. It seems to have a panoramic view, like glass all around, which is quite interesting. So it's not just like this thing in front of you. It seems to be all around you.
Yeah.
And that kind of is confirmed by the graphics, like kind of like the in-game or, I don't know, CGI, because not all the scenes in this are actual proper gameplay. So the kind of like actual simulated version of it, and you see the character's console kind of appear from the ground. He's working at it, and then on one side there's a Krogan crewmate, on the other side there's a Solarian crewmate, which is very interesting.
Which was a surprise, yes.
Which was a surprise. Also, something I noticed just now is the guy's silhouette looks very much like the guy with the tattoo that we're going to talk about later.
Okay.
But again, it could just be generic man silhouette. But we don't know. It just is a silhouette of a guy with these 2 guys next to him. And then we're moving on to... So this is a kind of a brief point. The landscapes are all very, very diverse. You get to see a lot of like landscapes in this, from the dust bowl to the volcano to the weird sandstormy tornado thing to the one with the flying creature.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's loads of them. All of them all have kind of an element of like really large scope. And they all seem to have like lots of fauna and animals, so it seems to be quite interactive and different weathers and things, so it'll be quite interesting to see. And they stressed the point that they want this to be a world you'll explore. Like it's going to be all like really exploring, like you're going to want to wander around it aimlessly. So it'll be interesting to see what that is. Right, so the next point is the creature that runs up to you and tries to chomp on your face, and you get to see this character shooting at it. there's not much that I noted. Do you want to say what you noted from it?
Yeah, in a particular shot, which you'll see on the screen now, the head, or like the kind of the bone structure around the head, looks like a yarg to me. And I'll do a comparison shot on the screen for you guys as well. But it really looks like a yarg purely because like the two kind of horned bits that come out the top of the head, and it very much reminds me of the yarg that you face in the Lair of the Shadowbroker DLC. Okay. So obviously there'd be a slight difference, but it seems like a wild one, almost like a feral one. So that's kind of immediately what sprung to mind to me. But it does seem strange that they would have a yarg in a completely new galaxy where completely new races would be, kind of thing. So that would be a surprise if they went in that direction, but who knows.
And at 45 seconds, which is like literally a second after the Yag attacks you, you kind of get to see the back of the character a little bit more. It looks like, I'm not sure if there is a jetpack there, but if there is, it seems like they integrated the weapon holding system into the jetpack. So it seems to be like one kind of tech system. I'm going to ask you a question here. Were you able to switch shoulders in the original 3 Mass Effects? Like the way you held the gun?
You may have done. I'm not 100% sure.
I don't remember.
No, I don't
it's
remember
just because
changing
this character
it myself.
is facing the different way to the way I remember the character facing in Mass Effect. So it makes me think that you can maybe switch shoulders, which is, if they didn't have it in the game before, it's a useful thing to have. So there's that. Then I think the next scene I noted was at 51 seconds, so it's a little bit further on, is the Asari face, which I think is one of my favourite scenes in this trailer, of this really emotive Asari face. Its facial animations are really, really good. Quite different to, I'm not saying the facial animations in Mass Effect weren't good, but some of them were always a bit weird. Like that Shepard smiling scene in Mass Effect 2, where he looks like he's a murderer. Like, it's a bit weird. This one just looks really genuine. It looks so polished. The coloring's really, really nice.
But then the smiles go away.
Yeah, so then you see like, really quickly a knife enter frame, and she just looks terrified. So it almost actually doesn't even look like she's been terrified. It almost looks like she's been like scolded, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So she looks like it might be like a character on the ground, and she's like like Harley Quinning it almost, and then a knife has been put in her face, being like, "Shut up."
Yeah.
So she might be one of the bad characters. We don't know. Then at about a minute, you see what looks like there's all these different landscapes, and in a minute they show a landscape of this, like, I don't know, it almost looks like the world on fire. There's like fires everywhere, and you get to see a Krogan and what looks like the I don't know, I want to say it's the N7 character. It's not the protagonist, and I think this is maybe leading up to possibly an encounter at that leaked footage, which we'll discuss again. About a minute and 2 seconds in, which is very much after that, you get to see the Tempest landed on a moon. And actually, there's many other scenes at like 1 minute 8 seconds. You get to see the Tempest actually on a planet and the Mako coming out from the Tempest. So it actually gets to see the Tempest maybe possibly landing on surfaces. I don't know whether that'll be like a loading screen or whatnot, but it's interesting that you can maybe just like walk up to your ship, rather than having to like deploy somewhere, you know?
Yeah, so like dropping from the rather than dropping from the sky like you did in Mass Effect 1 and pretty much all of them. You can actually like land your Normandy style Tempest and then just drop the Mako down or just walk out from your main ship. So yeah.
1 minute and 8 seconds, or no, 1 minute and 6 seconds, sorry. You get to see the biotic ground pound, which was very cool.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to doing that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's obviously a lot more like motion, probably a lot more, maybe there'll be more specific melees, maybe different classes will have different melees, but it looks like a proper like ground pound. And this one looks like it's biotically controlled rather than a jetpack, so that's quite interesting. Then 1 minute 16, you get to see this giant creature again. It looks really similar to that Yag kind of creature like before, but it's almost like it's a rock lava monster.
Yeah.
It's weird. And you get to see him munching on this character. Just munching on. Now, the most interesting, one of my favourite scenes is, actually, let's discuss the 1 minute 18 seconds scene, which is the weird spiral structure coming from the ground.
Yeah.
There's not information on that, but it does look like the spiral structures from the E3 2015 trailer.
Yes.
Kind of, so they're bringing that back.
Yes, yeah. They seem to be important for some reason.
Yeah. 1 minute 19, this is the scene I really like. This is the firefight, or the seemingly stealthy firefight between your group, which looks like a female protagonist, a Krogan wearing very, very odd armor, because you said it looked kind of tribal to you, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. And he's almost like he's got this, like, it comes over his head and he's got like a mask, so they're all wearing masks. And I think it possibly is another female behind them as well in the black. And they seem to be sneaking upon some humanoid characters, which we can't really tell. And this little mini firefight. But what's interesting is they had the female protagonist there, and that's not the last of what you see her.
Mm-hmm.
But what's interesting is in that scene you get to see her armor a lot more. She's wearing white with like blue fringes, and then she's got like this A symbol on it with like 2 stripes, which is almost very similar to like what I thought was the Alliance kind of style.
Yeah.
Blue and white. But what is interesting is all the protagonist characters, or all the characters you get to see in this, bar I think 2 or 3 scenes, are of the white and blue character, as well as, you know, especially the bit in the end when you get to see the woman's face. She's wearing like white, blue, and like that kind of design.
Yeah.
So it makes it seem that the protagonist is going to be wearing this design. That's going to be their base design, and it definitely shows the N7 character is a separate character on their own different story. And I'll talk about it a little bit after, but it's just wanting to make that point right now. Do you anything else you want to say about that before we move on? No. At 1 minute 22, it confirms that video leak was actually genuine, which I don't think we had doubts about.
No.
It's interesting they chose to show it in the trailer.
Yeah.
But you get to see a little bit of story here. I think this, along with this scene, along with the last scene, and as well as the scene with the Krogan and the N7 character before, have the most story in it. It shows this Krogan, it's a different Krogan to the Krogan you were hanging out with the N7 character holding the guy with the tattoo on his face, and then slow-mo letting him go.
Yeah.
For one, this is very similar to the mocap picture we saw released ages ago. I don't even remember what that was. Do you remember?
I remember, yes, but we'll, again, you guys will see a comparison on the screen. So
it's fun to see that kind of brought into the game. But also these 2 characters are just, they don't look like they're doing good things, unless it's a renegade option. But they don't look like they're doing very good things here. And what's interesting is, what I'm thinking is this N7 character might be hanging about with this Krogan, and it might be a story arc for them. It might be that they're actually, this is a villainous thing to do without context. So without context, it's kind of looking bad for him, right? There might be context to it later, but right now it just looks like he's threatening a dude and he's dropped a dude. And N7 character man is just watching it happen, and they look like they're in cahoots, and they've already seen another scene of them walking together in like a place where it's just been destroyed with fire and searchlights up ahead.
Yeah, and with that particular scene where they drop in the guy with the tattooed mark on his face, it seems like that could be potentially after the scene that came out in the leaked gameplay footage, where they use that gas grenade to kind of knock him out. And it's almost
what's interesting is that scene with the Krogan and the guy in the big landscape with the fire, and you get to see these searchlights, right? It almost seems like they're searching for something.
Yes.
They've like destroyed, they've pillaged this place, they've searched, and they've clearly tried to interrogate this guy, and they've dropped him. So with just what little we've seen there, there's a little bit of story proving that this N7 guy, may not be as nice as we think he is. So let's move on from that.
He's a bad man.
He's a bad man. So then we get to see one of the last scenes is basically off what we think is Earth, with a massive fleet leaving, with, I don't know about you, but the ships look kind of unlike anything we've seen.
Yeah. These are the transport ships we're talking about.
Yeah, the transport ships do kind of look like, what is the little pilot ships?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, well, I think everyone will know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. The one that Cortez drives.
Yes.
Someone will correct me in the comments, I'm sure. But it kind of looks like a more modern version of that. But you get to see all these like transport ships leaving Earth. What I notice here is there doesn't seem to be any like war or destruction. There's no Reaper remains or anything. The ships look way more advanced. But there is a mass exodus of Earth for some reason.
Yes.
And it's not like the ships are leaving off Earth. As you see at like 1 minute 32, you get to see giant arcs, and not just one, but multiple ones. So it seems to be a mass exodus of the planet or of the region of some sort.
Yeah, it would also seem to put to bed almost. I'm trying to keep a little bit of kind of a light burning for it, but it does seem to kind of poo-poo the early exit theory, which is obviously leaving before the end of Mass Effect 3, because that seems to not be the case.
Because it looks like if that was happening at that time, it could be. But that's what us saying that it looks like Earth, but it might not be Earth. It might be somewhere else.
That's true. It's an Earth-like planet. It seems like it's Earth, and it seems like that's whoever's going on these Ark ships. And I say ships. We'll come to that in a minute. But going to these Ark ships, leaving for Andromeda, this is what it looks like, and they're leaving Earth. But it doesn't seem to be from a devastating, just happened Reaper attack.
So in the shot of the Ark ships, I can count at least 3.
I only saw 2, but
there's 2 big ones and there's one in the top left-hand corner.
Oh, was there another one there?
Yeah,
I didn't see that one.
Yeah. So there looks like at least 3. We don't even know what's behind it.
So there's a fleet.
There's a fleet. It's definitely a fleet leaving. So and it also looks different to what we actually saw in the N7-day trailer.
Yeah, what I noticed was in the N7-day one, the arms at the back are out, as if to like windbreaks almost to slow it down.
Yeah.
Well, obviously there's no wind in space, so whatever the space equivalent of windbreaks are. But in this one, they're kind of like in park position where they're in and closed in. Yeah. So, what I was saying to you earlier on, which I don't know if you noted down, was there seem to be like other structures surrounding them, like almost like space docks. Yeah,
it almost looks like, so it might be a reference. In Star Trek and stuff, they have like ship docks. They're kind of free floating. Like, especially in that scene in the reboot Star Trek movie, in the first movie when you see the Enterprise and you get to see all the dock bits on it.
Yeah.
So that there are multiple arcs. So it's definitely a mass exodus off this region, but there's no explanation to why there's a mass exodus at this point. But again, we say mass exodus, we have no idea what the population of these things are, and they just look massive compared to the transport ships.
Yes.
But they could just be. I don't know. It's very hard to tell scale and story until the story actually comes out.
Yeah.
And then finally, which is one of the last scenes, you get to see people waking up from cryo, which is that girl. You see her wake up.
Yeah.
In this room. And she's again wearing the white and blue armor. Again, her face is like super detailed and emotive. It's got that frostbite look to it for sure. And then she says, "We made it." Very relieved.
Yes.
Yeah.
# we made it.
# we made it. So, but one thing we should know is that they do state that all the images do not reflect actual gameplay. So there will be things in this that obviously aren't going to be in the game. Yeah. It's obviously for a trailer, but it looks very, very good.
There are bits that we can tell do definitely seem to be gameplay. So, and if it's confirmed to be gameplay, it looks really good, like really good. So yeah.
Anything you want to add?
I was going to say, I was going to say, do you have any kind of final thoughts on it, really? But I think for me initially, because my stream, we were watching the stream, and yours was a little ahead of mine. So you started getting all excited, and I was just like, whoa, what's happening? And then it kind of just started playing, and then we were trying to be quiet just for each other, so we could watch and listen to it. But every so often, I would creep out, oh my god, and then you'd do the same thing, and then So, but
my thoughts are that it looks like amazing. It looks so much better than I thought it was going to.
Yes.
Whether it's going to be in the game or not, I don't really particularly care. I know some people are worried that it didn't show enough story. It was very short, but we both thought it wasn't going to be very long.
Yes.
I did think that possibly they were going to do a presentation after, but they didn't.
No.
They committed a lot of time. I think they've committed a lot of time for Battlefield, which is fair enough because that's one of their big titles, and Titanfall because they're coming out this year. Yeah. But what I want to say is that there seems to be definite. It's given us information that we wanted. We know that the Tempest is real. We know that certain leak information is real as well, and we know what our female protagonist is going to look like, default possibly, and we also know that the N7 character is definitely separate from that kind of character. Yeah. We don't know what their role is, but we kind of have to me, myself anyway, I think I have an inkling that he's going to be not such a good guy, that maybe he could be our antagonist, which is something we've kind of thought for a little bit.
Yeah.
And you also get to see things like you get to see your Krogan teammate way more than before. And you get to know that there is going to be Asari, there is going to be Solarians, there is going to be Krogans and humans. There isn't other species like the Quarians and the Turians yet.
We haven't seen them just yet, no.
But it's good. Some of our old favourites are coming back.
Yeah.
So far what I see is really good.
Yeah,
really good.
we were. If we weren't hyped before, this trailer has definitely hyped us up now, and now we're looking towards other game conferences that are coming up later in the year. I know Gamescom is one of them, and obviously N7 Day is probably going to be the biggest reveal later on this year. And obviously being kind of mid-June now, it's not a huge amount of time to wait. It's like 4.5 months ish, roughly. So and
we'll probably get to see a gameplay stream on N7 Day.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me because that'd be fairly close to.
They're very close to it,
so.
and I think they'll probably do like what they were doing with Dragon Age at that point. They'll probably do like a couple months before, to about 4 months before, they'll do like a gameplay of a section that doesn't involve any storyline. They'll do a stream or something.
Yeah, that's it.
So we'll get gameplay. We will get it, and we will get bits and bobs throughout the year.
We will get play. We will get some sort of gameplay at some point this year, but it won't be till later on this year.
No.
So, and I think that's our initial analysis of it. And sorry, it ran a bit long, but I'm sure you guys won't mind. And yeah, so obviously, please let us know what you think down in the comments below. We will have a lot more videos coming out on this. We have ideas of where we want to kind of look at in certain areas and certain particular parts of the trailer and hints of story and things like that we do want to look at in more detail just on their own in their own video, so keep an eye out for them in the very near future. And yeah, that's it. So as always, thank you for listening and for watching, and you can subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on all things Mass Effect, and you can help the channel to grow by sharing the video too. Again, thank you for listening and for watching. We'll see you again very, very soon.